Hello, hey, welcome to Tyler with a K. Today we will be talking about the book and TV show One Day. It recently came on Netflix, I think at the beginning of 2024. I've been seeing a lot of book talk content since it came out saying, oh, this TV show is so sad, so sad. And I was like, let me try. I actually watched the first episode before I started the book, but I wasn't really interested in the TV show after the first episode, after I'd watched it. So I decided to read the book, and now I'm back. So the title of this video, I watched One Day in One Day. Today is going to be that day. I'm just going to rewatch the first episode, but first I'm going to talk about the book. I actually really enjoyed the book. It was good, and I think a big reason of why I enjoyed it so much is because I could relate to the two main characters. We have Emma Morley and Dexter Mayhew. They're graduating college at the beginning of this book, and I'm graduating high school like this year, so I think that's already a parallel I could relate to, or that was just a parallel I could acknowledge. And they're just trying to both find out what they want to do with their lives in the future. And they both have like different approaches to it. I don't really consider this book a romance book. Like, I don't even think they should be in a relationship together necessarily. I just think they're just really two very interesting characters, and I want to spend time with them. And I enjoy spending time with them. I think the best books make you believe at the end of the day that the characters are just people that you would see on the street, and it like leaves an impression on you. Like, I've thought about this book, maybe not every day since I finished it, but like most days. I think it's pretty funny as well, and like just the writing style in general, I just really like it. It also takes place in the UK, which is not a place I'm from. I'm an American. I don't know if I ever said that, but it just also kind of interesting to hear like some like slang, like UK slang that I don't understand all of it, but it's pretty interesting to hear it if I listen to the audiobook. I also think the audiobook reader did a very great job of like distinguishing between them, voice wise, but also like mannerism wise. Like some of like when Emma's speaking, like maybe she stammers a bit even if it's not written in the page. I just feel like, I don't know, I was experiencing this book more than I was reading it. And whenever I say I experience something instead of reading it, it's definitely a good sign. The way that the chapters work, we kind of switch between Dexter and Emma's perspective. Not even every chapter, like within the same chapter we go between. And although that could have been like annoying or way too over the place, I enjoyed it, and I was able to focus when I was in each person's head. Both of these are very strong characters, and I don't like really prefer one to the other, although I think I can relate and generally like, no, that's a lie. I like Emma better. So sorry, I guess I just lied to you. But while I was reading it, I took some notes. Most of them are quotes, because there are lots of quotes in this book that I really enjoy. Can you give me a second to just choose a few that I want to share? After careful consideration, as in like 30 seconds, I can't choose them. I think I'd rather, if I remember, I'll just copy and paste my like favorites into the description, but I may just copy and paste all of my notes because all these quotes are so good. The first one that I put down, so I've given this whole growing old thing some thought, and I've come to the decision that I'd like to stay exactly as I am right now, and I definitely relate to that. I don't really want to graduate, which is kind of funny to think about. I'm not ready to change. Maybe I'm ready to graduate, but I'm not ready for like as big of a change that is coming towards me. So it's a bummer, but we can't do anything about it besides fail, and I just don't want to do that. It seems like more work to not do anything. But yeah, I think that's a big part of the book in large, just the concept of change and trying to find yourself in different things, in different people. It's pretty profound. As for the title, One Day, there are a few quotes that said it. The attraction of a life devoted to sensation, pleasure, and self would probably wear thin one day, but there was still plenty of time for that yet. This is obviously, or not obviously if you haven't read the book, but it's from it's inside a part of the book that's in Dexter's perspective. I don't think utilitarian is the right word, but he just wants to like really derive the most pleasure from his life. So that's an interesting quote. Another one is, how does it happen that you wake up one day, find yourself in your 30s and someone's mistress? That's kind of more of a spoiler for the book, but And then the last one, I really like the dialogue specifically in this, like their banter, Emma and Dexter's, as well as like Emma and everyone's. Emma's just a really good like bantery character. I just really enjoy it. It seems like natural and what I'd hear on the street, I guess. But basically, she's talking to one of her boyfriends. She's talking to, I guess, her ex-boyfriend at the time, and he says that she's been I'm just gonna read it. We're gonna have spoilers. So basically, I think his name is Ian, and he shows up at their flats. They call it I'm pretty sure people in the UK, in large, we call them apartments, but they call them flats. So Ian shows up to her flat, and maybe I'll do this in a British accent just to change it up. So this is Ian. Sorry for, flipping out like that. I'm sick. Going through your stuff. Completely unacceptable behavior. And then, this is bad. I'm gonna not do the British accent. And then Emma says, "S'alright. S'alright. It's like S apostrophe alright. Just don't do it again." Then Ian, "Some of the stories are quite good, by the way." Emma, "Thank you, though they were meant to be private." Ian, "What's the point of that? You'll have to show them to someone someday. Put yourself out there." And then Emma says, "Okay, maybe I will one day." By the way, this book ends with Emma dying. Yeah, she dies. More on that a little later, I guess. I thought it would be like Emma wrote this book, but that is not what happened. Because, like, she's an author, and she writes, like, throughout the entire book, and I thought they may try to do that. Oh, this whole book is the book I've been writing, like they did in, the book I'm thinking about right now, but I won't spoil. So, yeah, I don't really know. I thought it would be, like, once a year on the same day they met each other, but that's not what happens. It goes through, like, I think, like, 30 years or something of their lives. It starts in their early 20s, and it goes into, like, 40s, I think, so I guess 20 years. But it's not like once a year or something. They really just keep in contact for multiple years. So yeah, Emma dies. I don't know what's up with that. I was really surprised when I heard it, actually, but like after, I just didn't really feel anything. It's weird, like, although I'm interested in the characters, I'm not like invested in them, I guess you could say. Which is kind of, maybe I'm more invested in Emma than Dexter in general, so maybe that's why. I was like, I don't know. It didn't ruin the book for me or anything. It just seemed kind of random, but like there are like multiple, or at least like one other death in the book, and I guess that shows how like unexpected life can be and life is in general. Like you can't really. There's no way of knowing. There's no knowing where we're going. There's no earthly way to know what happens in the future. So yeah, maybe that's also like a theme of the book, like the unexpected nature of life. And I'm just gonna read the little thing I wrote after I finished it. It was so good and a little sad at the end, but they're literally just people and so relatable. I believe every novel should just end with goodbye. Right. At the end, they just say goodbye. Near the end of the book, it transitions back to their first meeting. When Emma and Dexter go back to Emma's flat, and then they like go to like a hike or something, and it just ends with her saying goodbye to him. Like the after their first like interaction, after their long after their first meeting, like goodbye, and that's how the book ends. What a concept. It actually really good, and it only took me 6 days, but I feel like I've lived a lifetime. Yeah, it only took me 6 days, but like I've read about these characters for like 300 something pages, although it feels like longer, and it's a bummer that their story has ended. So yeah, I think those are all my thoughts. Generally, I really enjoyed this book. I did. So that's good. I also finished yesterday, actually. I think it was yesterday. It may have been this morning, but I think it was yesterday. A book called Small Worlds, which also takes place in the UK, and there are also like parallels between that book and this one. I don't want to spoil that book, and I'll probably talk about it in like the next wrap up, so I won't talk about it here, but I just thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, this is another like relatively spontaneous book. I did at the beginning of the year have like a list of books that I wanted to read that I wrote like at the beginning of each month, this was never on any of those lists. So now that this book is done, I hope I can kind of go back to that list. But this video isn't done. We are gonna be watching the TV show. I don't know if I probably won't check in like every episode because that's just too many videos and I don't want to edit it that much. So maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna watch the first episode again as I mentioned and just go from there. Are you ready? I am. Let's go. Alright, we have 42 minutes left on the memory card. Cool. It is the next day, but I did finish it in one day. Oh, no pun intended. But I have school, as in I had school today, and I also had to go to sleep. So I didn't film, but I'm filming today, but I did finish it yesterday. I started the first episode around like maybe 12:30 or something yesterday, and I finished the whole entire series around like 10:10 or something of last night. I did rewatch the first episode even though I had watched it already. I went in actually thinking it would take shorter than it did because I thought it would be 8 episodes. Because it seems like every single show nowadays has 8 episodes or 10 episodes. But it had 14, which I was like pleasantly excited or happy to find out because we got a bit more time with the characters. I really enjoyed the TV show. I won't delay that. I did really enjoy it. I would say off the bat that I ship them more as like being in a relationship in the TV show, but I feel like I don't know them as people more. I think a lot of that has to do with in the book we got like inside their heads, like there was a kind of narrator of sorts like between the dialogue. Well, obviously in the TV show we just see like different scenes where they're mostly talking, so there's a less character focused work done in the TV show. I think, at least, I wasn't able to understand them as much as people, but I did still think they were people. They were really good actors, both of the leads and everyone really. It was a pretty good acted show, pretty well acted show. Also the music. I guess I'll talk about general thoughts more, and then I'll go into more specific. I took a note almost every episode. I took a note when I wanted to, but general first. I also really like the music. I don't even think it's really music that I necessarily like, but it seemed to really fit into the show. And I was always excited when a new song came up. Even if I didn't like how it sounded, I liked the lyrics. Like all the lyrics were really good. Directing wise, it was a little, I guess, not boring, just nothing like really exciting happening, but I did still like enjoy it. I didn't really have any qualms with it either. Sometimes it's funny, I just had to kind of translate what they were saying because first it was an accent, and also like there were some like UK terms that I didn't understand, which is kind of funny. It's like I was watching a show in a different language, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was accurate to the book. I enjoyed it. Great adaptation, high rewatchability. So let's go quickly through like my nitpicky notes. The first one that I said is Tilly isn't a meanie. Or no, the first one I lied. Do they have chemistry or not? Because the first episode I did not ship them together. I think I shipped them more than I shipped them at the end of it more than I shipped them at the beginning, but I don't like necessarily want them to be together. I just think they have really good chemistry as like friends more than like people that love each other. I don't know. But it was nice to see them together for like 2 episodes. Another big change, as I said, there aren't that many changes, but one is that Tilly isn't a meanie. In the book, she plays a really minor role. I don't think we even hear her talk once. That's probably not true. She probably talks during her wedding, but she is Emma's flatmate, just like in the TV show. By the way, can we talk about how good a name Emma Morley is? I love hearing that, especially in British voice. Emma Morley, I'm sick. I have an excuse, but I just like that name. And Dexter Mayhew, they're both like pretty solid names. So yeah, Tilly isn't a meanie. In it, she's kind of just distant. Like Emma doesn't really like her, and Tilly and Dexter actually got together once in the book. Well, in this, they didn't, and like although we hear about Tilly and Dexter having like some kind of like friend relationship, we don't see it on screen, and honestly I don't believe it because they don't really interact by themselves ever. I'm sure there's probably a deleted scene with that happening, but not one that stuck. There was a quote that I related to a little too much. I think this was in episode, or I guess, should I do episode by episode? No, because I didn't take notes for some episodes. I don't even know which ones, but I know I didn't take note every episode. But yeah, episode 1 was fine. yeah, at the end of it, at the end of watching it for the first time before I like read the book, I was like, okay, I was not really intrigued because I thought it would be like romance, and it would just go right into it. Well, like I didn't realize how long it would take for them to get together, so I was going in for like romance purposes, and I was like disappointed in that regard. Back to the quotes. It's in episode 2. Basically, I don't even know if this happened in the book. Honestly, I found myself a lot of times watching the TV show, not remembering what was going to happen next, and then when I was put into the situation, I was like, oh yeah, this happens next. I don't know. It's just a very long book, but like, although I guess I couldn't remember a lot of things, like off the cusp or whatever the term is, when I saw it in the TV show or like it alluding to it, I was able to guess like what was going to happen, which is kind of interesting and it hasn't happened. Maybe because I've watched and read it in such close proximity. But yeah, I was writing a letter to Dexter, and she's in an acting troupe, and she writes, acting is not for me. The only emotion I can convey convincingly is embarrassment, and I still don't know what to do with my hands. I'm like a semi-actor. I've acted in a couple of things. I still don't know what to do with my hands. I feel so awkward with my hands. Thankfully, I've had the luxury of having parts that had like handwork to them. Like I played this old dude that used a cane. Then I played Willy Wonka, who also we're not doing chronologically. I did Willy Wonka. That was the last thing I did. Who also uses the cane, and then in the middle there, I held some books. But yeah, like I don't know. I feel so weird with my hands, and like I have one hand on the cane, right, but the other one is just like it's open to my side. It's so weird. Okay. I don't know what to do with my hands. So I was also keeping track of the times the term like one day was used in the series, like I was in the book. So the first one was in episode 2 when Emma is in a production talking about the women's suffragette movement, and she says one day something changed, as in somebody like spoke up for women's rights. So that was one. There's another one where Dexter was talking with his mom, and his mom told him one day things might not be this serene, because he's like living large, like just doing whatever he wants, and she's like, just like be grateful and like really maximize your experience. I don't understand why. He has a relationship with one of his students. That's so gross and like unethical and not illegal because they're over 18, as he said, but still, like, no. Oh, another change which I actually really liked through the entire series is that each episode is on July 15th. That's the first date that they met. July 15th, I think, is 1988, and like it goes through the years, which is different than in the book. It just shows like random moments. I'm pretty sure it's not all on July 15th. Correct me if I'm wrong, editing Kyler. But yeah, I appreciated that touch, and I think it makes more sense that way. Emma says something. This is spoilers. Emma says something like offhandedly to Dexter, like when Dexter and her went back to her apartment, and she said that she'd blocked it out like a car crash, and I just wrote cruel in capital letters. I really like, yeah, how seamlessly they transition between the two different perspectives. Like I never was uninterested in what I was watching, as that was the case in the book as well. Ian, who is like Emma's kind of toxic ex, he literally looks through her stuff and opens her. They call the notebook diary, I think is the American translation. He says, if you're not popular at school, or like a football person or something, and one day you hear someone laugh, you latch onto it. One day, that's the TV show name if you didn't know. And like, yeah, that's why his whole personality is he's a comedian and he tries to be funny. I think they definitely like toned it down how like annoyingly funny he is, like all the time that he's in the book. I think the same thing kind of happened with Suki Meadows with Dexter. Dexter and her dated for a bit, and they were like co-hosts on a TV show. She was always like so enthusiastic. We spent a little, I think, at least it felt like a little less time with her in the TV show than we did in the book. And when she was on stage screen, she wasn't like so like in your face like she was in the book. I think also the reason why the book left more of an impression on me in terms of Suki's character is because I listened to it with the audiobook. She like the way she speaks is so like different than everyone else. Another quote: one day I'm gonna give you a compliment and you won't immediately reply with the price. Right. Dexter compliments Emma's shoes and she says it was £1.15. Then he says one day I'm gonna yeah. I'm not going to do it, but I encourage you to consider what all of these mentionings of one day of the TV show means. Okay, episode 8 was Emma only was the first only Emma episode. This is halfway through. At the end of episode 7, Emma and Dexter kind of break up. By the way, they're really good acting in that episode. In every episode, really. But yes, especially the end of that one. And we spend the whole entire episode 8 with Emma. And then in episode 9, we spend entirely with Dexter, where we saw Toby Stephens from Lost in Space. So that's a nice surprise. Episode 12, for some reason, said one day, but there wasn't a space between them. Like, each episode has one flash, then day flash. I can probably do it, like, my own version of it right now. That's what it usually looks like, but in episode 12 it just went like now. There wasn't a space, which was interesting. Another small change, Sylvia, who is Dexter's ex-wife at this point, and even though they're not real people, actually cheats with Cal when they're still married, when Dexter and her are still married. I think in the book what happened was she just went with Cal after they had broken up. I guess that adds an extra level. Also another change that I didn't write down, but I also have acknowledged in my brain right now is like how dramatic and like hard for Dexter, maybe not hard, but like difficult, I guess that's a synonym. The time with his daughter is when Sylvia is away at like what they call like a hen night or something. Like he literally yells at her in the book. He yells at the baby in the book, and that doesn't happen at all. She just basically, they listen to a few songs, then she just goes to sleep. So, another change was we meet Jean-Pierre, which is Emma's boyfriend in France. After when she's there, like to write her novel, we see his face. We get a scene with him while in the book he just mentioned, and then Emma says that he lied to her in both the book and TV show, that he lied to her. She lied to him and said that she was sick or something, and then Dexter and her like end up getting together. Episode 13 ends with, you know what, Emma's dead, and just the shot of her in the bike sideways on the ground with blood. I was not expecting that, and I was like, whose idea was that? I don't think it looked bad, like makeup wise or anything. I was just like, okay, we're really like, I would have preferred an abrupt like screech, and then that's the end of the episode. I guess I'm just used to that. I don't really think it's sad. I didn't cry or anything. I just think it's like unfortunate that she died. But anyway, basically Dexter is laying on, or is just sitting on his floor, and she's imagining Emma talking to him, and she's saying like bad things will happen in your life, or like things will be sad, you'll feel sad, things won't feel positive, and it'll go on like that until it doesn't, because one day it won't. And that's the last mentioning, I think, of one day in the TV show. And those are all of my thoughts. I really like this TV show. I think I would definitely want to rewatch it in the future. Yeah, I don't have any negative things to say about it. I'm glad I was able to watch it. This isn't like my first romance content. I did watch The Summer I Turned Pretty, and I've watched like the Two Other Boys I Loved Before movies as well, but yeah, I'm actually kind of interested. Should I watch the movie? Huh, it's described as a romance/thriller. Okay. It's an hour and 47 minutes. It's not available anywhere I watch my movies though. Oh, and they're supposed to be British. And I know Anne Hathaway isn't British, so maybe not. But yeah. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'm really happy with how much I've been enjoying my books this year. I haven't read a book that like I absolutely hated so far this year. So that's good. That's good. Let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, as in like TV show to book adaptations. I did this in the past a bit more than like current. So if you'd like more, just let me know. I have a whole playlist full of them. So I was gonna say something, then now I can't remember. Maybe I will one day. That was intentional.